welcome to today's episode. So today I'm talking about why I left SA. If you don't know, I live in China, Shanghai. I am South African. Okay, so in 2018, I decided it was time for me to go. I remember it was a very impulsive decision. It's something I thought about when I started teaching. I remember very well this one time at the garage where we used to take our transport to work. I was telling this other teacher that I want to go teach abroad. I had no idea how that works, but I knew that it's something that I would want to do. I said it then and I never repeated it out loud again until the time I started applying in 2018 March. So it was impulsive. What pushed the impulsivity though? So I was born in Ladysmith. I went to school in the Free State Gwagwa, which is basically very close to Ladysmith. And then I went back to Ladysmith to work. So after working there for about 3 years, I was just starting to feel like, is this going to be my life? Am I going to be the person who basically lived all her life in Ladysmith? And that did not sit well with me. So I was like, something's got to give, something is got to change. I was very, very unhappy with the idea. And every time I thought about it, even now when I think about, is this my life? I don't want this to be my whole life. I love being here, but what is next? I'm starting to feel the same way, but it was worse in Ladysmith because I was like, there's just no way that my life was meant to be like this. So I thought of options. What other option do I have? And when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I'm a teacher, so I could go and teach abroad. By abroad, I meant, I think I've mentioned this a few times, I wanted to go teach in Saudi Arabia because I'd heard that teachers make way more money there. I started doing my research on Saudi Arabia and I noticed that you have to wear the hijabs and stuff. And I was like, ooh, is this something that I would want to do? I remember asking someone, because I was going to have my interview in Joburg, and I asked a colleague that I trusted about just what she thought. And no, 2 colleagues. The other colleague was male, the other colleague was female. The female colleague was like, ooh, she's heard stories, horrific stories of what happens to women when delivery guys deliver goods, and sometimes they go in and they, you know what. And then the male colleague was like, go for it. If it's what you want, really just go for it. Okay, those are the only 2 people I talked with about this. Anyway, I go have my interview. I don't get the job. It was the most horrific interview ever. It was in a restaurant, some fancy restaurant. It was noisy. I couldn't hear them. They were intimidating to me, just men who looked like, bitch, we're tired. Anyway, yeah, I had my interview and then I didn't stop applying. I started applying this side, China. Applied, got some interviews. I've told this story again. Got a job this side. So my thing was, the first thing was I was unhappy and I needed a change. I needed a change because I also felt very stuck in Ladysmith, but also in my personal life. So I was very unhappy. And now that I think about it, I was extremely unhappy with just how my life was, both just my social life, church-wise, family life. I was really, really, really unhappy and I needed saving. And I thank God for giving me the opportunity and making it possible for me to come this side, because I feel like being here saved me from not just myself, but from a lot of things and a lot of people, because I was able to look at things from afar and assess things, especially when I resumed therapy again. I could have been in therapy, but in the same environment in SA, I don't think it would have made much difference as much as it has here. Everything has changed. So even if I were to go back to SA, I'm just a very different person. Yes, age has to do with it, but a lot of work I've put in and just assessed things from afar and understanding that a lot of things had nothing to do with me. It was just sometimes very horrific people and horrific circumstances. Terrible, really, that I was around. The level. So I got disturbed. The level of unhappiness that I was experiencing also had a lot to do with just the amount of money that I was making. Was not happy with it at all, especially after I'd made a big financial decision that I'm not ready to talk about. But anyway, when I made that financial decision, I was left with having to pay that installment every month, and then I couldn't save money. I only could save about 2,000 every month. It just didn't make sense to me. I was like, I need more money. And moving abroad, I knew that I would be able to do that. But even though it took me a bit of time to be able to start saving money properly here, but I'm very, very happy that I took this decision and I moved aside for my financial life as well. So I am sharing this for people who maybe it's your motivation is not money. You just maybe feel very unmotivated and you feel stuck. Being away from home and looking at things from a different perspective, literally in the sense, because you are away, you see life differently. It might help a ton. So if you don't know which direction you want to go, that might help a ton as well. So just think about that. But also financially, whatever you're making right now, I swear to you guys, here you can save 80% of your salary, depending on your lifestyle and your expenses back home. Are you supporting your family, stuff like that? But you can save, let's say, at least 70%, but I do think you can also save 80% of your salary, and I think that's a good way of thinking about it, depending on your future plans. Like, I was studying in SA and I had to pay for my fees as well, whatever. When I got this side, there was nothing, because now I could afford that as well. So I could afford to take myself to school without feeling really stressed about it. You are able to buy things that you want and not. I haven't bought anything on, what do you even call, on debt since 2018. I have not. Like, there's nothing I've bought that I could not afford. So everything that I buy, it's cash every time. I'm almost finished doing one thing that I've really wanted to finish, and I'm going to share as soon as I finish, because I'm going to be so proud of what I've done. So if you want to elevate your financial life, definitely think about coming this side as well. If you want to clear your head, maybe you come from a family that is dysfunctional, or you just have a dysfunctional life and you need a break from that, it's a good way to move away from that as well, moving abroad. Yeah, so this is for everyone who's thinking about moving but they're not sure because they think they might regret. You're unlikely to regret moving here. If you want to move, do it as soon as possible. Just do it. You now can come this side, still a little bit expensive, but just do it for if not for yourself, for your future children, especially financially, because in SA they don't pay us and we can't save enough. So let that be a motivation. But for me, I feel like China, being here, saved me. It gave me contentment. It gave me time to be away and think about things and give myself an opportunity to be happy as a human being. I always speak about the importance of being happy, especially the more I grow, the more I understand that there's no way I'm going through life and I'm unhappy. It just doesn't make sense to me. I need to be happy and fulfilled, which is why I'm trying to make moves soon, hopefully, God willing, as well. But being happy, and if you are unhappy wherever you are, you have opportunities to move and build a life that you want away from everyone's opinions, especially when you live in a small town. Everyone thinks they have an opinion in your life, be it church people, especially church people, and it's annoying. You can't be yourself. It afforded me an opportunity to be myself, you know. In Ladysmith, I could not be myself. You know, I'm not even talking in a wild way, but in actuality, I could not be myself because people who known me from when I was young had an idea of who I was. But here I can be myself. I can establish myself the way I want to and come back to SA with so much confidence, like take it or leave it, you know? Small things like that where you have a family that wants to control things and tell you what to do. No, when you're abroad, no one tells you what to do unless you let them, I guess. But you get an opportunity to build the life that you want. You get to be in the headspace to build the life that you want. But you can go down the drain as well, depending on your company and just what you do when you're here, because there's definitely ways to distract your life and destroy it. Said what I said. Anyway, I hope this helps someone who's been thinking of moving. It definitely helps. There's no crime as well. I used to be very jumpy in SA and it was very uncomfortable. I lived alone. So the crime, the expensive food, the expensive everything, breathing is expensive that side. So these are the things that I didn't think about in my initial decision-making process. But now that I'm here, I'm like, oh my goodness, thank Lord that I've had a break as a woman to just leave and not be fearful of dying, of being raped, of being, you know, whatever happens to women. Anyway, I hope this helps you if you're thinking of moving abroad. Thank you guys so much. I love you. Bye.